Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Reasonably Effective Podcast. I'm 10 Types, joined by Uncommon Fossil, and it is episode number, what is it?
43.
Yep, I knew that. I knew that.
You were testing me.
Yeah, yeah. And so today we're talking about a few different things, including Paradox Rift. We talked about it, I think, did we talk about it last time, or was it? I think it was the time before last time.
Right.
And
We
that was,
talked before it was on live.
Yeah, so that was 2 weeks ago, and now we're talking about it again. Now that's been out, and the most played deck by a wide margin is Roaring Moon. So Roaring Moon, we've talked about the card a lot, but Roaring
Yeah.
Moon is the most played deck. It's performing okay. I'd say it's not like I'd say it's like it's performing decently for like a new deck. The other new deck being
Yeah.
Goldengo. I think those are the two big new decks. Although a lot
Right.
of the other decks have new inclusions, which is kind of cool. Interestingly, also on big change in the meta is that decks want to go second now sometimes, and don't mind going second as much, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, no, I think that's good for the game. You're not guaranteed to go second when you lose the coin toss now. So that's a plus. The other thing with Roaring Moon and Goldango, they're free to everyone. So because they're on the battle pass and live.
Yeah,
So
I
they're
mean Roaring Moon is like free. Goldengo
yeah.
is on the premium battle pass, but that's if you don't, yeah, I'd highly recommend you get that. It's very cheap. It's essentially free. So, yeah.
Yeah, it just takes maybe 2 or 3 days of playing, and you can afford it. If you're like a brand new account, you can afford it within a week. So the
Yeah.
premium battle pass. So part of the win rate then though, because everyone has it early, it means it's also played by people that are maybe less experienced too. So that does
Yeah.
hurt the win rates from
But
them
yeah,
as
but they're
well.
not that bad. I assume you're looking on Play Limitless, and they're both
Yes,
like Roaring Moon's 49, Goldengo's like 48 and a
48 and a
half.
half. Yeah,
So that's pretty decent. That's not like great, but that's not bad.
right.
But so I played Roaring Moon. I played it for a video once, and if you saw the video, that was a bit of a mess. But it was something. And then I played it again. And it plays Pokestop, and I used 6 Pokestops, and I hit
Okay.
4 items. But across the first 5, I hit 2 items. So that meant most of the time I just Pokestopped and just milled myself. So that kind of
Yeah.
sucked. That was I literally like got sick to my stomach. Like the 5th Pokestop when I was like I'm gonna like lose. I'm gonna like just get rid of all my stuff and just like lose. So I actually won that game. I lost another game after, but I won the game where I like milled like all my items, but
Hmm.
no, not my items, my other stuff. But Pokestop is a really highly played card right now.
Yeah.
Um, because if you look at like the top decks, it's played in Chien-Pao Excalibur.
Yep.
Chien-Pao, first of all, have you played Chien-Pao with Iron Hands, or have you played against it, or what's your experience been with that so far?
What's Iron Hands do again? I have
Uh,
not played it.
the extra prize one, the lightning one that takes
Oh
extra
yeah.
prize.
So and I have come against it. Um, and I'm trying to remember now. Actually it was very early days, like the first couple days I saw it, and I haven't seen it since. So I don't remember if it how much of that affected the game. It's 4 energy, right? So you
Yeah,
need some
it's
one lightning and 3 colorless, right?
yeah.
So it's limited to what decks can get it powered up. It but it does what 120, right? Is the damage output?
Yeah, and you can buff it with a few things, but not like super high.
Right. So it's designed to take out single prize engine pieces or lost zone cards
Yeah,
or something that's damaged already. But usually don't want to. But then you're two-shotting something, and that's not what you want to do.
yeah.
So what's your how'd the deck work for you?
Oh no, I also didn't play it. I was asking. I
Oh, you
played
didn't.
Iron
So
Hands um with Lugia though, and that was all right. It wasn't.
okay.
I'm not like the biggest fan of Lugia. It has its consistency
Hmm.
issues, but I'd say it adds something to the deck. It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
I don't think it's problematic like some people thought it would be. It's a little annoying for certain decks, but it's not like super highly played. And Chien-Pao Excalibur is like win rate's really bad. I mean it's like it's 44%, which is not good. Um,
Okay.
it's the second most played deck, but it's not doing too well. So like if you look, it's the same as like Reggies, which I guess we'll get to, but Reggies aren't good. They're not like horrendously trash, but they're not good. And then Iron Valiant Urshifu, which also isn't good. And then like
Yeah.
and like Cloth Electrode, like these just like not great decks. And Champion of Excalibur is like standing next to them. So yeah, I think it's
Although what I heard, and this could be part of why it's getting played in Japan, there's a tournament of champions, whatever it is. Like that, there's like 4-star players each year, and they have pick another 4, and they go to in a tournament to see who the 4 are for that year. So there's 8 top Japanese players, and half the players played Chien-Pao of Excalibur, that which was recent. So
yeah, but like
so
people
these
are playing
top
Roaring
players thought it
Moon.
was good. Yes.
And I'd say like Roaring like Chien-Pao is kind of it's more established as well.
Hmm.
So I think Shin Pao's like solidified itself in the format as being a deck that like it has potential to be like super strong, but
Yeah.
it's not like that good. Like it's good, but it's not. It's not.
It has
I don't know. It's
potential
kind of weird.
because it can one shot anything, but you're relying on evolution Pokemon, so you have that fragileness to it. Irida's great for it. I was playing with where I could snipe the bench and had some options, and you can I was like keeping the Baxcaliburs out of play for like 3 turns in a row, and then they do nothing
Yeah, I feel like that's a
essentially.
little weird to do, because you usually can't because you're playing Guardy, right? Or are you playing something else?
Yeah, that was Gardevoir. Yeah, with the Scream Tail that I could hit the bench at times. So
So yeah, that is but that's only if they have like one down, so they should probably try to get 2. Um,
yeah, they did get 2, and
or
then I punished them
Manaphy.
for that actually. So
How?
because well, then they had well for whatever reason they had a Chen Pao, and I had 2 Chen Paos, and they had their Luminion V, and they were powering up the Luminion V because they wanted to take a knockout with that and get out of play. I think, which isn't
Yeah,
terrible.
that's fair. That's fair.
So they had 2 Frigibacks down, 2 Chen Paos, and all their energy. They had 2 energies down to Luminion. So then I played uh, Collapse Stadium. They got rid of a Chen Pao, which is reasonable. But then I blew up the Chen Pao.
Yeah, yeah. I feel
So
like they should have just gotten rid
so
of the Luminion, which is like
they probably should have, but they were investing energy there, which is why they
yeah, but
didn't.
it's
But
only
yes,
like
they should
2
have.
energy. It's not that big of a deal.
Right, and right, because once you have the Baxcalibur, you're good to go. So they made that move, and then I kind of continued to. But at that point, I had like taken 3 prizes by taking out like Frigibacks like 3 times in a row. Like they got the first turn, because they're manually attaching the Chen Pao each turn, so it wasn't good for them. Anyway,
Yeah, I guess.
um,
Anyway, so
but the other card, which maybe we want to talk about now, is the Toad School, right? Because that is the counter to Chen Pao Baxcalibur, right? Amongst
yeah,
a few
so
other
Toad
things.
School. So can you read Toad School for me?
Hang on one second. I am calling it up. So Toad School from Paradox. Oh no, Toad Scroll, not cool.
Yeah.
So Slime Mold Colony. What a name there, huh? Cards in your opponent's discard pile can't be put into their hand by an effect of your opponent's abilities or trainer cards. So it's a weird one, and I actually misinterpreted it at first. I thought it did more than it did. I got to say, I thought it couldn't like be attached and stuff, but it just can't go in the hand. They can go back in the deck, right? Like Super Rod, it can go back in the deck, and it can go attaching, so it doesn't stop Gardevoir, it doesn't stop things like that.
Yeah. So and then can you name me the major cards that this like stops?
Hmm. Well, Super Rod is probably the biggest one.
No, Superior Energy
I mean, no,
Retrieval.
no, not. I mean, Superior Energy Retrieval, right? Because that goes back into hand.
Yeah, and that's the one
And
that's
obviously,
very good
energy,
in
right? And that's the
Chien-Pao
Chen Pao Excalibur, right?
and also
Loves that card.
Goldango and also Goldango.
Oh yes, that's right, correct. And you obviously have standard energy retrieval. I've certainly played decks. If you're doing single prize decks, you have the rescue carry that puts 2 Pokemon 90 HP or less into your hand. So those type of cards would get stopped.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
Clara, right?
yeah, Clara.
Clara, you're saying, yep.
And then okay, now I want you to read me Pokestop.
Okay. So, oh wait, except that's misspelled, isn't it?
It's spelled fine. You can
I can't type. I don't know if limit. Okay, but Pokestop once during your right, the interaction should be. It should really crush this. Pokestop once during each player's turn, that player may discard 3 cards from the top of their deck. Oh, if a player discarded any items in this way, they put those item cards into their hand. So So you think it should stop it?
So it does, yeah. So the ruling, I think this was brought up. I don't know. It was
Is
brought
that an
up.
official ruling? Because it's a
Yeah.
weird one, right?
So the ruling is super weird. So now if you go back to Toad School, it says
Yep.
your opponent's discard. So if they use Pokestop,
Hmm.
but it's only if they use their Pokestop. So if it's using like if you have Toad School, you play
Yeah.
Pokestop, your opponent uses your Pokestop, then they will still get to keep the cards because it's not your
Oh, it's
opponent's
their
trainer, it's
card.
your trainer.
I
But
see.
that's like weird. That probably won't happen. Like that seems kind of
Hmm.
dumb to play Pokestop in your own Toad School deck. So realistically, they'll play Pokestop,
Okay.
and then
Yep.
they'll mill the cards, right? They mills the cards, and then
Right.
they'll try to recover the cards, but they can't. That being said, it doesn't work in live. It still works. Like Pokestop still goes through
Oh,
Toad
so the
School.
cards still go in the hand.
Yeah.
So they need to, and I don't know if they track who Stadium is or not in the game or not.
I think they do. I think there are cards where it
Okay.
matters. I know. There are certainly
There.
some. Uh,
Yeah. So they need to fix that. Okay. Wasn't aware of that.
yeah,
The
so that's
deck I was playing. Go on.
so that's really good. As we said, there are a bunch of decks that play Pokestop. Honestly, a lot of those are the decks that play like Superior Energy Retrieval and stuff. But like Lost
Right.
Zone, this is like a counter to Lost Zone, and there's also Toad School EX, which
Yeah.
is an interesting card. It's obviously an evolution and it's a multi-prizer, but it says it's the same thing as Espeon VMAX, and it says prevent all effects of attacks done to your opponent's Pokemon done to all your Pokemon that have energy attached. This is primarily a counter to Sableye, can be a counter to Giratina V-Star, it can be a
Right.
counter to a few cards, and it's moderately comparable to the new Jirachi, which is not great, but not awful. So this
Yeah.
Toadstool is like an interesting card,
Hmm.
and you can play both Toadstools obviously if because they evolved from the same Toadstool.
Right. And actually, I was playing. It didn't matter. The Toad Scroll. I put it in my the
Venomoth.
Venomoth deck, which then they're item locked too. So I wasn't thinking. So it didn't bother me that they were getting the items back in hand. I probably should have noticed that mistake, but I they couldn't play the items, so I was like, you can get the items back. I don't care.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird ruling, and I don't really fault Live too much for it. It's like I'm not shocked it doesn't work, and I think it's fair. Like I think it, well, okay, I think it should have been fixed within
They
like a
should fix
week
it
or
when they're coupled.
two.
Right.
Um,
It should. Yeah, they might not get it in the testing, but once it gets reported, they should fix it quickly.
yeah. So this is the second consecutive, or it's like all the second Toad School that doesn't work right. And also this means I don't know, it's just not like great. And speaking of bugs, we're getting a little off track, but Roaring
Okay.
Moon, which damages itself and can KO itself, can
Yeah.
cause sudden death, which doesn't work right. So again, this isn't as bad, but it's another Battle Pass card that doesn't work right. It's not as bad as what the first one was,
Hmm.
Gardevoir, which crashed the game. Then Tinglu
Ooh.
also, I think, did it crash the game? I think it crashed the game.
Yeah, it
Um,
could lock things up.
and then the Toad School EX just didn't work right at all, but it didn't crash. And then Roaring Moon isn't like it doesn't inherently work wrong, but it can somewhat commonly cause a sudden death, which it happens when you tie,
Yeah.
when you like
Hmm.
both like take all your prize at the same time, or take knockout, or both of you run out of bench Pokemon at the same time, or whatever.
Right.
If you win by multiple win conditions at the same time, that person wins as opposed to just winning by one. But anyway,
Yeah.
so it's sudden
Yeah.
death
I
is
had yeah I had sudden death this week.
yeah. Tell us how that went.
Yeah, and I got it through a more interesting way than you were saying. I was playing the wheezing from 151, then a coin flip. If it's heads, the opponent in your when you're knocked out, flip a coin. If it's heads, your opponent's knocked out too. I think it might have been Ring Moon, and I flipped heads. I knocked them out. They knocked me out. We both took six prizes. Went to sudden death. I went second, and I got an eye out. And what happens is you're supposed to put the all six prizes you're supposed to set aside six prizes. That's the way it works IRL. For this though, it only sets aside
Yeah.
one
Oh, so
prize.
you set up six prizes. You'll need to take one though.
You only need to take one,
Importantly.
right? Similar to how if there's a in a game and there's a penalty IRL, like a prize penalty, you don't take the two prizes. You just need to take two less prizes to win the game.
I guess
If you
I don't really know how that works, but
That's how it is.
that
Just
sounds right.
it keeps the game functioning properly because obviously when there's less prizes, it affects things. I went second. I got
Yeah.
had an Iono in hand, so I only could draw one card without Iono.
Yeah, I guess
So I
IRL you wouldn't
basically
want your opponent you wouldn't want to like have your opponent purposely take a penalty and then Iono you.
right. And back in the day, right, like when there was reset stamp and stuff, right, things
Yeah.
like that. You could just you could what you there was things with control, right? You could put your opponent to a 0 card hand probably immediately.
Yeah, it's like
In
whoops,
essence,
I accidentally like punched my
right.
opponent in the face. No, I don't know what some like two prize penalty would
Right.
be,
You
but there are
draw. Well,
certainly some.
right. I used quick ball and I played. I grabbed an evolution Pokemon, maybe something like that, right?
Um, I
You're
guess
supposed to
I
grab
don't.
a basic.
Yeah,
I don't know
I don't
what it
know how
is.
I don't know the rulings that well, but
And if you did it intentional, they probably they would probably disqualify you if you did
um,
intentionally. I would hope, right?
yeah.
But they
Well, I
have to
mean
know
that
that.
they made the rules in the way so that you shouldn't. I feel like if they make rules in which like you can take um like you can I don't know, but yeah, you shouldn't like cheat, obviously. Um,
Right. So
so
anyway, in sudden death, you're supposed to have 6 prize cards sitting there. The first one to take a prize card wins. But and also besides Iono, it you know the the prize cards affect how the game works out, right? Who has what prize changes things, and so the dynamics of the game are thrown off, and that's been a problem from day one that's been known about, and they just have no interest in addressing some of these issues,
yeah, and
unfortunately.
obviously it's a very small issue. I don't know if I've ever had sudden death, but it is still an issue
Right.
that isn't like super hard to fix.
No, it shouldn't be hard. And there's still the issue you can't always select cards, right? And that's a game losing problem.
Yeah. Okay. And
Unfortunately.
then there's a bigger issue that has come up, which I think we need to talk about. And this
Okay.
is shout out to Ember Power, who I think is still having this issue. We just can't, and a number of other people as well. I heard it from Ember
Hmm.
Power, that you just can't log in. Like you can't
Yeah.
use live, which is really bad. Like that's like the worst, essentially like the worst possible thing. Like
Right.
it literally
That's
unplayable. Like it's
right. You can't log in. That was after Paradox Rift came out. It caused trouble. Live like 3 days later, I think. Um, or maybe I think the update was on a Tuesday. Like the Friday, I think they did an update to address it. So, but it's not great.
I don't think
Also, when they do
I don't think they fixed it.
I
Wait,
think it did for some
maybe,
people,
yeah. It's like,
but not everybody.
yeah, it's just a big. It's like, and that's really bad. Like, I don't really know
Yes.
like why these things happen, but something went wrong.
Right. And just the one, the big warning I say is don't invest actual money into the game buying codes and stuff. I would warn against it, right? Because it's live is a bit of a disaster, and you just don't know I don't know the future of it. I will say.
Yeah. And so this brings me to another question that I was thinking of asking you. So
Yeah.
you said, I don't know when this was, but this was when live, I think it was probably when live was in beta, at some
Hmm.
point along that long journey. And
Yes.
you said it within, I think 5 years, you said live would be fine. It might have just
I
been a
think
year, but
I think within 2 years it should it'll be it was somewhere between a year or so. I think it will be at the level I was saying of PTCGO. Now
and
that's not good. It should be better than
so do you still believe that?
PTCGO.
Because like it hasn't been getting better.
It's
Like not, I
well,
mean, and maybe, but not
it
like
has improved, but it was really
kind of.
terrible.
But it's also like had some aggression. Like they still have these
I
major
think,
issues every set. They still don't fix these things that
yeah,
like,
they don't. They fix them within 2 weeks now. I mean, that's not good, but honestly, for a
well,
while
but
they
like,
didn't
wait,
fix
which
them.
bugs? Like
Well, most bugs,
some of
like the
them.
fact that the control cards are locking up the game. They fixed it in a few
Well,
weeks.
they banned the card, or did they fix them within
They
2 weeks?
fixed them. Well, I don't remember. I think they
Yeah,
actually banned them within a couple days,
yeah. But there's
which
like a
was
number of days where like didn't work
it
right,
was
and they didn't fix it and
yeah.
expand it either. Well, they didn't ban it and expand it. They fixed them, but like,
I don't know. Look, the one thing I think I've learned is the motivation for making live in house. I think is clear to me, and there was hope at the time that that the game would be better than PTCGO, but I think they strictly did it because it was cheaper.
yeah,
They figured they could spend less money, and therefore, and it's not it obviously takes resources, and if in if their goal is to put a product out for the least amount of dollars spent, it's never going to be that good, unfortunately.
Yeah. And then we had like some people talking about like Twin Leaf, and then that just like seemingly died. Like I don't think Twin Leaf
Hmm.
is coming out at all.
Well, no, there wasn't. Somebody did an interview with Twin Leaf.
They did?
Yeah,
Oh.
this week.
Oh
Let
wow.
me take a look
So
at one
was
of
it
my
for the
channels, and I
win?
watched it. Uh,
As far as
oh
I know,
no,
he's the only person.
it was on the quote podcast by Azul and Trainer Chip. That's who did it.
Okay.
I forget what they call their thing. Um, Uncommon Energy.
Common Energy,
That's
they're
their
ripping
chip.
you off. No, I think they were
I know
first.
they have two.
Were they first?
No, I think I was first.
Oh yeah.
They so they talked to him, and they never yeah 3 days ago was the thing. So you can check that out on their channel. But so they never mentioned the thing with the person that said it was terrible. That didn't come up. Probably was by the agreement. What he was saying is primarily he says he has a good relationship with Pokemon and is kind of talking to them to make sure they're all okay with what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Pokemon would want a good relationship with him. Like, he has a lot of influence. So, I mean,
Right.
obviously
And
they have
he's
more influence than him, but like, they don't want to like. There's been a lot of YouTube drama, or there's been some YouTube drama with some big
yeah.
creators, and I don't think they want that.
I mean, the thing is, what he's trying to make is a tabletop simulator. That's really what he's trying to make.
Which already
He spent a lot
exists.
of time. I know, but they never asked him that. All they talked about is the one that Limitless developed. That's not exactly a tabletop simulator. He's trying to take that to the next step. There's already the free one we did once, and there's the one you can pay like $20 for, also, depending which is better.
Yeah, and
So
and
I think
so
he's
like,
making something that exists. So I don't know what advantage it has.
yeah, I don't
I
know.
would
I
have
mean,
liked to
even
see
if,
him
I think
ask
if it
that.
looks better and it like works a little better, that's cool, I guess. But like, um, I don't know. At the end of the day, it needs to be in some way better than live, and in some way better than it needs to be like have something better than all the alternatives to obviously be worth something. Um,
Well, what he said, which is why it's never going to replace Live First, it's made for testing and for doing like coaching, where there's no timer, which is obviously an issue if you're
that's
coaching or testing,
yeah, that's fair.
right?
That's pretty
I mean, it's
niche, but
good,
that's fair.
but that's his audience though.
That's
That's
kind
what
of
he
weird. That's
talked
also
about,
like, see, it's
and
weird
that's why
because
he's
like
talking
that's
to
not his actual like
Zool.
YouTube audience either. Like that's weird. I feel like I was
Hmm.
hoping because obviously he's a really big YouTuber, that he could get more people into the game. Like if like 1% of his subscribers started playing the TCG, that would be like
Yeah,
awesome. That would like double the
right.
size of the community too, or something. I don't know. It'd
Well,
be like absurd, but
yeah, he is playing again. He said he's playing IRL
okay, that's
actually.
fine. That's
Because he said
cool.
he lived 30 minutes away from where the World Championship was. So he was like wanted to go there and played some side events and stuff. So, but the
Wait,
other
in
thing, which is what
Japan?
no, last year, and he's in
Oh,
London,
okay. Yeah, I was gonna say like,
right?
yeah,
No,
but that
just
was a
last
while
year. So
ago.
that's what. No, but that's why that's when he kind of started playing Pokemon again, which probably is part of why he cared about live not being good and the Twin Leaf idea came about, I think. But the one thing he said they're not going to do is you're not going to be able to just match in randomly to someone. It's only going to be an invite friend thing. In which
Okay,
case,
that's
so it can't replace live then.
yeah, which is okay, I guess. If it does the invite, like the invite thing is very important. Live, obviously, live does it really badly. Like, or it does it badly. It doesn't do it like horrendously awfully, but it like has a tendency to not work.
It's yeah,
So sometimes it just doesn't work at all. Usually it like works. We need to like send the request and maybe log out and log back in. But like inviting is like that's good. Like obviously I'm
right.
thinking of it as like from a content creator standpoint, and it could be good if it looks good.
But
Like
you can't just pair in randomly to someone. That's the
yeah,
thing.
but I think it would be good for. I made a video talking about collaborations, in the
Yeah,
an OPOP, and I think something like this would be cool, I guess. But we'll see
right. Is
what it actually lets
right.
you do.
But is it better than Tabletop Simulator that's
Yeah, or
already
well, or
exists?
well, if it needs to be
Or
free.
Untap, which
Yeah,
is free, right?
yeah, and Untap's bad. Untap, well, it's like it does what it does, but it's kind of bad.
Right. I don't know that anything you do things manually is going to be that much better, though. It might look a little better. Although,
Yeah, well, it
although
could
he said,
perform better, and like Untap, like there wasn't like a bench, right? Like Untap,
yeah,
like the cards didn't
well,
like lock in place. It looked like it was weird.
yeah, well, it Untap is designed for a multitude of games. This is just going to be Pokemon, I assume. So it should function a little look nicer for Pokemon.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know too much about it.
Yeah. So there is that video by Chip and Azul you can find on that, but we've wandered very far from Paradox Rift at this point.
Yeah. So anyway, I think for Paradox Rift, so Pokestop, Toedscool, they don't work, but they're cool. And then like they can.
So the other thing for Pokestop, right? Because you said you were playing Pokestop, it wasn't working. Pokestop twofold. It's very high roll. It's random. You have to embrace that, is what I'll say when you play Pokestop. Because I've done enough Pokestop decks that you just got to embrace the randomness. Which it's an attitude, I will say.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like playing card. Like if you don't want to play a card like say Capturing Aroma or a card like Pokemon Catcher, like you probably shouldn't also play a card like Pokestop. It's certainly fine too. I think people don't look at it in that way, but it is. I guess it's a little less random. Like you can get an amazing Pokestop, you can get an awful Pokestop, but you can get somewhere in the middle. Versus like coin flip cards, you can't really Pokemon Catcher, you can't get in the middle. But yeah, so you said you have some secret sauce for Pokestop.
Yeah, I mean, well, first, because the bad thing with Pokestop is you don't get supporters, and you need to play a supporter every turn, basically. So obviously, the simple way is you play Pokegear, right? And which I think is a good card. It's a good card even in other decks too. Honestly, looking at 7 and getting supporter can be good. But then the other way, which is the way I love to do it, you play Bruno and Welcoming Lantern.
Classic.
Pair. Now you got to be a single prize deck, right? Because you got to be. Because now wait, Bruno, do you draw or do you shuffle?
I'd shuffle it. It's shuffle draw 4 or 7. No, 4 or 7. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a supporter. Welcoming Lantern is an item which then recovers. What is it, a Bruno, or is it any single?
It's any single strike supporter, but presumably Bruno's the only one you play. Yeah.
So so the Welcome Lantern goes into hand, the Bruno goes in the discard. It actually synergizes with Pokestop.
Yeah. Well, you'd rather have the Bruno in hand than discard, but
yeah,
it's not like the end of the world.
Pokestop, you're gonna when they go in the discard when you play them, and you're gonna lose a couple with Pokestop. So So it actually works pretty well. I love that was the way I like to play Lunatone Solrock back in the day. I will say, and actually I thought it was a very solid build of it, and I think there's some value in that. But anyway,
and then the other card that is, you do or don't?
No, you don't, right?
No, I do not. No. But the other card that is good with it is obviously Counter Catcher. Counter Catcher is super good. It's Gust if you're down. And it's really good with Pokestomp, but it's also really good with Snorlax Stall. Someone actually said that you commented on my video kind of like jokingly that I stole your deck, which I kind of did. But like it's a Snorlax Stall. And then someone was like, wait, nah, you didn't, or it said like, no,
it's okay to copy have the same video. It's not a bad thing, which is true. I was just giving you grief.
Yeah,
we uploaded Snorlax Stall videos the same day too.
Did we?
We did. You don't notice my channel, but I
pay attention. I sometimes
you have more subscribers, so
I do. Not by that
many, big time.
Well, yeah. Oh, so we actually recently passed. You passed 500. I passed 700.
It is.
So I think it was actually like before last podcast. It might have been the day of last podcast.
Okay.
Not sure. But we recorded that one like much earlier. So.
Yeah, we did. So yeah, both are growing. We appreciate that. But yeah, Counter Catcher, Stall, because Snorlax Stall was pretty good before Paradox Rift.
It was okay. It was like I'd say like a rogue deck is kind of probably how I'd describe it.
Right, but it was getting results in online tournaments even before it, and then Counter Catcher just is a great card for that deck. Right, Counter Catcher, if you're not familiar, you have to be behind on prizes. And then it acts as a boss. You switch opponent's bench with the active on an item. So a tremendous card. And you don't need 2 of them like cross switch. You just need 1. So in a stall deck, you just want as much switching as possible, basically. You're not taking prizes. I did get the other thing is I did a Snorlax Stall video, and I got 2 people commented, "Where's the energy in the deck?"
Wait, I said, isn't that like the point?
The deck doesn't play energy.
Yeah, I know the deck
don't. So I just people so that's fine. I guess they're new to stall. That didn't,
Yeah,
you're just not taking
most
prizes.
stall decks still do play energy, but not Snorlax stall. That because
Right.
of actually it's because of Erica's invitation. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I could talk. I've definitely talked about that some. Because you don't need the
It
previously
was
you could play Pyramidal, you still can, but then you could also play the
right.
Mana
Some play
Fee.
Crabominable,
Oh,
right, and
you'd
then
like
they play
essentially.
Crabominable with one energy. So it's which if it's
Yeah.
prize, then you're really doing a lot of work. But
Yeah, it's not like that. Like, it's not that important. I personally don't like Crabominable, and most lists don't run it. But then,
right,
yeah, you used to like need a mana fee, but that kind of got replaced.
right.
But then, so that deck's good. But we need to know about its win rate on Limitless, which is absurd. Oh, it was absurd. It's still pretty. It's 55%. If you look at its matchups, I was looking at it
It's
before. It was higher. It's essentially positive in every like major matchup. Um, not okay. It's not positive against Giratina Lost Zone. But then
right,
has one awful matchup, which is the Mirror, where it has a 26% win rate because it like ties all the time.
right, because you can't take prizes. They're infinite decks. So I'm not. I guess
Yeah.
somebody just quits. I'm not sure how
Well,
you win that one.
you can deck out. Like it depends how it's like running, and Crabominable can like
Right,
mill. But then you also
right. If your
have
opponent has Crabominable,
yeah, they're not like super infinite. Like they are infinite, but
well,
okay,
it plays
like
the. Well, I mean, I play it with the Pidgeot
yeah. I'm looking. They
V,
do run
right? And
Spiritomb though. So at least this one list runs Spiritomb here,
oh,
which would
oh, if you're
stop
into that,
that.
then yeah,
And then you can like mill. You can like do some weird stuff.
right.
You can't do that much. You don't have any like you can't like a lot of times in like control mirrors you can like do some crazy stuff. Like control mirrors can be
Hmm.
super fun. Not always. Sometimes they're really awful. And this isn't the case where it's really awful because you just like don't do anything. Um,
Right.
so
I mean,
yeah,
stall is it's a very simple control deck, right? Because
yeah,
you're not really controlling that. To me, it's the classic control is you're kind of hands locking and controlling what they can top deck with Ice Axe and stuff. That's kind of, and it's not like that at
yeah.
all.
And
It's
there and
very
also
simple. You
like
just pick a
energy
Snorlax
denial.
and you just
Yeah, and this doesn't have energy
yeah.
denial.
Sometimes they have hammers. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah, but you're not like running them completely out of energy. You're just like slowing
No.
them down a little. But anyway, so that deck's really good, and it traditionally performs bad on online, like not awfully, but not great because ties will make its win rate look worse. So if you
Yeah.
don't account for ties, let's see, I'm gonna see what its win rate is. But it's
Plus
definitely
what,
higher.
339 wins and 200 losses, right? That's what
Yeah,
you're saying.
539. It'd be like 60, like 3% win rate.
Which is
If you
just
ignore the
insane.
ties, yeah, that's insane. And then it's like, I don't know, I guess it's an easy deck to play, but anyway. And so Snorlax
For
Stall is like good
for
or
Yeah, I
controllable.
mean for the top, it's in the number 9 played deck right now. Looking at it, and in the top 10 decks, which are the ones with a decent number of plays, it's the second highest win rate. So, I mean, I
In the
was
top 10, it's
concerned that
highest.
what's that?
In top 10, it's the highest. And because you're
Oh, I'm
talking about
sorry,
Lost
you're
on
right.
Charizard, which is
Charizard
12.
lost. Before it was a little higher, but yeah, in that, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, you're right. It is so it's the best performing deck in the top 10, which is pretty insane
Yeah.
and scary, right? Now, I think Sander, who's the king of control, said open deck list is better. He feels for control.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It depends. I'd say generally control players are well, traditionally, control players are. I don't know. This might sound kind of obnoxious, but control players are generally better than non-control players, because it's like a weirder deck. You need to like go out of your
Well,
way
they're
to
better
play it.
in the game plan, right? Because most
Yeah.
people don't practice against
Yeah.
control.
So they like know what's going on. They know the ideas, and they generally know like their opponent's decks better. Like what they want to do.
Yeah.
Not necessarily more than what they're doing, but certainly. Yeah, I don't know. Control players like um I think I'd like generally like have better like knowledge of like the matchups for them, and so that's like useful. But this isn't the case
Mhm.
here. Like this being played by so many people, like anyone, like you can pick this up, but it's very easy to play. Um,
Right.
yeah, I haven't played against it too much on ladder, but I've played against it a few times, and it kind of sucks to play against. Not gonna lie, a lot of decks run a lot of switch now,
Right.
but
But honestly, but now that you have counter catcher and I mean, I was playing the deck with how many switching cards? There were 4 boss. I played 4 cross
for
switcher. I played
gusting,
four, yeah, and 4 counter catcher. I
Yeah.
mean, and you have recovery cards, so eventually you're going to run out of switching cards unless you can power through
Well,
my.
you need six. Well, you need like six switch or five switch, because you'll take a KO every turn you play a switch. So the idea is like they're not gonna use all their gusting, but they'll like you'll just need to
Mhm.
switch every turn you take a KO. And so it depends. Like I'm assuming it
Yeah.
plays Misfortune Sisters. It does, so it depends
Yes.
how lucky you get on that. And
Right.
they might miss a turn at the beginning, so might be able to take a KO, maybe even two before things start. Maybe be able to KO
Yeah.
Rotom. So it's definitely winnable for different
Hmm.
decks. But then, so I was playing. I have another game I want to talk about. I
Okay.
was playing a control deck. I made a control deck. I cooked something up. I played a bunch of. It was a bit of a mess, but I played a bunch of new cards. That's like normal control for me, which like a bunch of different stuff. Not Snorlax, but like
Hmm.
Curlia, Mawile, Mimikyu, Rotom, uh, that type of stuff. And
Okay.
so I was playing it. I was against Roaring Moon, and so and in the end they played a lot of Switch, so I lost. But they right
Right.
before, so they had like. So it was a really slow game, and I was playing slowly. So I was like with someone. I was like doing something, so I wasn't fully paying attention. So I was playing like slow.
Okay. Yeah.
And so they kind of got annoyed. So um they had game, but then they just started emo spamming like absurdly.
Oh, yeah.
Like they just emo spammed. Like they emo spammed
Hmm.
and they played a card, and they emo spammed and they played another card.
Yeah.
And so they kept doing this. And they were playing Roaring Moon, as I said. So they attacked with Roaring Moon, and then they
Yeah.
died. Um, so then I just sat because I was like, you know what? If you're gonna like emote spam, then you deserve a little bit of suffering. So they attacked with their Roaring Moon, and then for the game-winning attack. But then I had to take my prizes first, which is kind of funny
Oh, so
because
you waited.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, don't emote spam,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry for the person I was playing slowly, because I wasn't fully focused. And control can definitely be annoying to play against. So
Yeah. When I was doing Snorlax stall, I was getting some hate there for sure. Some emote spamming and some people playing slow playing. Like now, the I will say most of the time, and I can know it's annoying to go against it. Is I'm frustrated too. But if you don't like it, well, first beat the deck, right? That's the first thing,
I
or
guess I feel like
concede.
that's not like a great
Well,
like
but if
advice. They just win. Like that's not like the
no,
best.
just play better. Learn to play against
Oh
it.
yeah,
That's the first thing,
don't
right?
like bench. Don't so if you're playing against control, don't bench Pokemon that can't attack, or that's
Right.
just a general rule one. Don't do that. As that
Yeah.
is the way that you lose. You can't always avoid it. Sometimes you get a bad opening hand, whatever. That just kind of
Right.
sucks. But don't like if you're playing Gardevoir, don't play Radiant Greninja, Lumineon, or Manaphy, and probably don't play Mew either. But you could get away with playing Mew.
Right.
Um,
Right. I was up against whatever, like the Charizard deck, Charizard Pidgeot, and what did they? They benched their Mew. It's like, okay, I guess I know my win condition now.
yeah, you do need
And
Mew does. Oh yeah, the UK they can't attack with Mew. So
right, they can't attack with Mew, so it's as long. So now I had the Pokemon that I need to get trapped, which they potentially could still win, but just don't do that. But the other thing is, most of the time, people who start slow playing or start spamming after they started losing the game. Like
yeah,
when they were
that's
ahead
generally true.
in
That's
the
generally
stall
true.
game, they were happy. All of a sudden, once I got something stuck, then they got unhappy.
Yeah, that's generally
But
how it is.
so therefore, it's not really just hating on the matchup; it's hating on losing to the matchup, which is
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't think that is such a good thing.
No. I think it's a weird situation. Because it can be a little toxic to play, certainly, and there are different ways of viewing it and different ways of viewing the
It
game.
is.
Um, and so I don't know. I think
Look,
um,
I don't think that
yeah, but
Snorlax Stall being so strong is good for the game, but Pokemon, they're just been making these cards to make the deck good.
yeah,
That's the Erica's invitation, I think it is, right? Makes it much better. Counter catcher, just having the block Snorlax in the first place is just a basic with that ability. They did, that wasn't necessary for the game.
yeah, and they knew it was good. Like it was a card that they essentially reprinted, that was notoriously good. Oh, I don't know. It's very good. It was very good and expanded.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. Anyway, is there any other decks
Yep.
you want to talk about from Paradox Rift?
Let's well, looking at
Oh, there's
let me
one
take
other
a look.
deck I think we need to talk about first as well. But do you want to talk about Gardevoir? Do you think there's not really too
Yeah,
much to say about it.
Gardevoir is good. I think we mentioned the Screamtail, right, in our earlier conversation. So I look the Screamtail, which does. Let me call it up here.
It does
It's
20 snipe for each damage counter on it. It has 90
right,
HP, and so you can. Oh yeah, so you're saying you buff the damage, the HP of it, right?
right. I mean, first look, I'm not a huge Gardevoir player. I haven't played a ton of it, but I was working on this build recently, the new build, which had a few new cards. There's the supporter Professor Turo that helps the deck too.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was a lot of
Mhm.
fun. I was just smashing away half the time with Screamtail, and I was just loving life. I gotta say. Um, and you do because you do 180. No, you do 80. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
at
you
160.
do 160, and then you have the new tool, which is called which again?
Luxurious Cape, I think.
Yeah. So and that buffs you up to you get an extra 100 HP. So that's an extra 200
200
damage.
damage.
So
Okay, so one thing to say about Luxurious Cape, so there are other tool options, right? You have Bravery Charm, which will boost the damage you do by I think 80, which is
yeah.
decent.
Hmm.
And then you also have then you have the other one, the Ancient Booster Ranger capsule, which will buff well, okay, I'm saying buff the damage. It increases your HP, allowing you to hit theoretically that much
Hmm.
higher. And then there's the
Yeah.
Ancient Booster Ranger capsule, which gives you 60 more HP, giving you 120 more damage. So then all
Yeah.
of a sudden you're hitting that I think you're hitting is it 360? Yeah, I think you can snipe
Yeah.
360. So I don't think you don't
You
need
need it.
Luxurious Cape because Luxurious Cape also means you give him an extra prize. You
It
don't need
it
to
is.
snipe like 500 damage.
But look, I was looking at Limitless. All the decks played Luxurious Cape. Now,
Well, yeah, it's
also,
there
it's the
for other things though.
Gardevoir too, right? The single prize.
Yeah, the guard void. Well, also like when you're setting up, so you're like like pre-evolutions don't like die
Yeah,
as easily.
but also then you do have the Professor's Turo, right? In that, let me just make sure I understand it. Professor's Turo scenario, you put one Pokemon in play in your hand, you discard all cards attached, so you can scoop it up with that potentially, and of course, it's really good for Gardevoir as well because
Scoop witch up the
you scoop up a Pokemon with the tool. You could
yeah.
if you
Well, no,
wanted
you
to.
lose the tool.
You lose the tool, which isn't great, but
Yeah, if you have
but
Penny,
in
you'd
general,
keep
it's
the tool.
good for Gardevoir because you want the energies to go in the discard.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. The other supporter, right, put all the cards into hand, right, and that was bad
Yeah, I
because
guess.
also you couldn't accelerate them.
Hmm.
So there's pluses. I think Gardevoir is better. I think with the Paradox Rift, I will say. The win rate is what's the win rate on this thing?
I think it's pretty good. I think it's
55.5%.
yeah,
So
that's
that's
good.
so again, the decks that have been around but have a few pieces to improve them, those are what gets really strong because people know how to play them, right? And so anyway, it was a lot. I like being able to smack the bench for big damage. It's just a fun thing to do, right?
Yeah,
So,
I guess. And then I feel like there's a few other decks we need to talk about, real
hmm
quick. And you don't have any other decks, right? I'm assuming.
well, we should mention that. Well, Lost Box Charizard.
Yeah,
Did you
Box
look?
Charizard is good, and regular Lost Books as well.
Yeah.
But like Lost Zone Charizard is good. Um, it's better against Iron Hands, but it has a lot of versatility. Lost Zone with the ancient and future Pokemon, you have a lot more
Hmm.
versatility and power. So that's really nice. Lost Zone now is like good. It's always been good. I don't think it's anything crazy new, but it's good. Um,
Well, Lost on Charizard right now, it's got a 58% win rate.
oh, yeah, that's really good.
And it's played a decent amount, 83 people. It's early days, but that's really, I mean, that's pretty
I
crazy.
think it
And
is one of the decks that tends to be played by better people as well.
it's
Um,
look, it's yeah, because I was testing it out, and I'm
and you're not
okay
as
with
yeah, you're
Lost
good.
Box,
You're
but I'm
good.
not great with it. No, you're great with everything. You're a true
Yeah,
content creator. I'm not great with everything.
yeah, I'm just the best. No, yeah, I think you don't really play that much Lost Zone either, right?
No, and with Lost Zone, you make a lot of decisions, and everybody makes mistakes. Even you've made one mistake in the game,
Maybe.
probably. So, and you make a lot of decisions with Lost Zone every turn, a lot of key decisions. So it's easy the chances of slipping up are much higher with that. And honestly, the chances of a card not being able to be selected in live with the glitching is higher too.
Yeah,
I
Lost
would
Zone's
say.
definitely probably the deck that's most notorious for that. Maybe Gardevoir,
Um,
one of those two.
but part of it is because you do like you can be all single prize Pokemon, which is a big plus, right? So you can control the prize map easier, and you have options. And the other thing is the new Jirachi that's supposed to shut down Lost Zone isn't played that much, so it's not really a problem.
Well, it's
I
played
put it
some. It doesn't shut it down that badly either. Like it kind of hurts Sableye, and that's it.
right.
So, you know.
Only like I put it in my Lost box because obviously the mirror it's very important, and you have the low HP Pokemon. So maybe in a deck like the Gardevoir, you might want it again with the Curlias and stuff to protect. But most decks aren't worried about it too.
Yeah.
The Sableye as much.
A few other decks. Iron Valiant is all right, but it's kind of a mess. It can like lead to dongs, which is kind of funny. It's good with Entei, surprisingly. I haven't played that, but that's kind of cool. Serena is bad. I guess it kind of makes sense. Garchomp is also not great, but it hasn't been played very much. I think it has some potential. Reggie's. We didn't really talk about Earthen Vessel too much. That is a card. I know you wanted to talk about it with Gardenias, but I don't really think we should do that because
look, Earthen Vessel. I want to talk Earthen Vessel for a minute here, just because. I know you're sighing away. First, I'll admit I was a Ice Rider fanboy. Okay. And Capacious Bucket was one of the things that helped make the deck great, right? And the Inteleon engine. There's no doubt. But
I mean, there are like lots of things that made it good. Like everything in the deck except for Ice Rider was like broken.
Ice Rider was
no, Ice Rider was decent. Ice Rider was decent.
It was, but it wasn't great, right? Because it did 250 in a time when 250 wasn't quite enough. But being able to, but I played with Capacious Bucket, which searches for 2 water energy, and at the time that was the only type of energy you could search 2 for. You had
there's also Giant Hearth, which was a card. It was
like rotated, right?
Yeah, I mean it depends what time period you're talking about.
At the last year of that was the only card that I think did that. It's only the only item card, right?
Yeah, I think so. And there wasn't a type of card that was like Capacious Bucket for another type or anything.
Right, nor a generic one. But getting 2 energies was really good in a lot of ways, and even other decks too. So the idea Earthen Vessel I think is very good. Being able to get 2 energies is very good. It's a big plus to a lot of decks, I think. So,
yeah, I think it's probably the best card in the set. Like I think it's very likely that.
Yeah, because it makes a lot of decks better. So again, hey, I tried Gardenia's Vigor. It's not bad. It's okay now instead of terrible, probably.
Maybe.
And such. So
wait, what did you play it in?
Oh, Gardenia's Vigor.
Yeah.
With I did in Regidrago, right? Because I was looking at.
Yeah, I was wondering. I kind of want to.
Regidrago's good, right?
It's decent. I mean, it has potential to be very good. Yeah.
If you can set it up, it's very good. I think. Right. So the question is setting up, and obviously Gardenia's was probably the 4th best way to set it up. I don't know, maybe Fortress is worse.
No, but then one thing
you have Lost Zone, you have Fortress.
No, I don't think Lost Zone's good in that.
Leafeon V.
Yeah, Lost Zone's not good in that deck. Leafeon's not like a whole. There's Charizard. There's also the new TM. We didn't really talk about TMs too much. They're good, I guess. Right. The evolution one's really decent, and the devolution one's also pretty decent. I think the energy acceleration one's good, but it's kind of weird. It goes in worse decks. And I think that's about it for decks from the set.
Okay.
Certainly talked a little while about that, but there's a lot of stuff to cover. Yep. Also tell us if you enjoy this. We got like more sidetracked. We're not quite done. We have some more stuff to talk about. But yeah, tell us what you think of this like style episode, and I have 2 more topics actually. So I have a quiz type thing for you first.
A quiz. Okay.
So it's not exactly a quiz, but I want you to name me. Obviously the World Championships happened.
Yes.
That's a very vague statement, but they just happened. And then before that, there was the Players Online Global Championships, right?
Yes, for 2 years.
Yeah, and so I want you to name me all the Pokemon Vs that were played in a world that won a World Championship.
And you're or Pog. The Pog.
Yeah. So, and for those who don't know, it was an online replacement during COVID. It's not quite the same, but it's similar. Otherwise, a lot of the Vs wouldn't, or some of the Vs wouldn't be eligible.
Were there
Actually,
Vs
I'm not
before
sure
the first Pog or no?
No, there were not.
Okay. And who won the first Pog, by the way? Because that was the bigger one. Because pretty much all the top players in the world.
I think it was kind of weird. Because that was played on not Play Limitless. Play Limitless didn't exist, but that was
Oh yeah.
Well, I won't tell you. I'll
Okay,
tell you
that does
after.
make
I
you mad.
don't I don't
Right,
even
so
remember the
what?
name of the person who won the
So you want to know the
second one.
V's that were in
Yeah,
the
V's
in the championship decks?
the winner. Yeah, the
So
Masters division. Well, there weren't division
so
Pogs.
there's 3 decks we're talking about.
Four decks, 2 Pogs, 2 World Championships.
Oh, okay. So we had the Arceus. You said what V's?
Yeah, V's the line.
Any
So if
V.
it's
So we have Arceus. We have Flying Pikachu.
Yep.
There was that dark one. I mean the fighting one.
Yeah, there was that fighting one.
It's not Aerodactyl, was it?
No,
was
it wasn't Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl was the one that came out after, which was arguably
Yeah,
better.
it was the one before Aerodactyl, which I'm not going to remember
Yeah.
probably. So
Well, do you
I
know
won't
the
try
name
to
of the
spell-
deck? Like what the deck was called?
Oh, it was ADP, wasn't it?
It was ADP. Even though the
Arceus.
the Arceus,
Flying Pikachu.
which is the
So it was a D then.
yeah.
Right.
I'll give you a hint. It doesn't actually start with a D. Kind of like how it was something D. Like Flying Pikachu doesn't start with a P. It starts with an F, but it's Pikachu. So
Hisuian Decidueye.
yeah, V
Okay.
star as well. You didn't say that, but yeah.
Okay. But they had the V as well.
They did. Yeah.
I assume.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes, that was a V star. The other was Arceus was V star, the V Max. All right. Oh, what won this last year?
Yeah, I feel like
I
you
don't
should
remember
like
now.
know
I don't
this.
remember what won at all. Honestly, I am completely blanking.
How do you forget this? I mean, like
I just
I'll tell you
because Andrew Mahone played
Miraidon 5.
right on EX, and that got all the attention.
I guess.
It
I
got a
didn't
lot
really.
of attention.
It did. It got a bunch. I didn't really pay that much
'Cause-
attention to it.
because it was the deck and the person, right?
Yeah.
He came in top 32. So, yeah, I don't. I'm blanking. I'm completely blanking on what won this year.
I'll give you.
Oh, it was Mew, right?
Yeah, it was
Mew
Mew.
VMAX.
It was Mew.
So
So
it was
that.
Mew and Genesect, and that might have been it for that.
Yeah, that
deck.
was it. So you've done the 2 worlds, or no? I think there's some other cards. There were
Oh,
some
was there
other
another
ones.
one in the ADP deck?
Yeah, there's I think 2. I don't have which ones they
Two
were
other
in.
Vs?
One was
for the-
in. I think 1 or 2 of them were. I think 1 card was in multiple World Championship decks.
Okay, so
yeah.
a V Pokemon. Let's see. Well, probably was Crobat V.
Yeah, Crobat
it
was in, I
something?
believe, 2 of them. Yeah.
Okay, the Pog ones, or was it?
It was in the
ADP?
later Pog and the ADP, I believe.
Okay. So what could have won? Let's think. So I wouldn't have been a Eternatus, probably
Yeah.
the and the formats. All right. So I don't. That wasn't like. All right. I don't know. I think we're taking too much time.
Okay,
here,
so I'll give you some hints.
Yeah.
2 are support Vs.
Support.
Vs.
The one-
Basics.
And the that I haven't said yet.
Yeah. And then there
Okay.
was 1 VMAX, and there are 2
Mhm.
attacking basic Vs. You like one of these
Attacking.
cards?
So was the one Cramorant V?
No.
Okay. Was there Rotom V?
No. Why'd it be Rotom? No.
Well, to the draw.
No. It would be
Support.
Zacian. It would be, but that wasn't.
Oh, Zacian. Well, for the
Is-
later one, I don't know.
No, it was
I guess-
Zacian. Yeah, Zacian was in both of the
Zacian was
Pogs.
around still,
Um,
and it was in the first Worlds, right? Last year's
yeah,
Worlds?
it was. Yeah, it was as well.
Okay, so, which
Um,
would have been probably better play than Rotom.
Yeah, most likely. But
Although
so
it had lightning energy, but anyway. Support Vs.
what's like a good support V now?
Good support V now.
Yeah. What's like
Lumineon V.
yeah, Luminion. So now you have the Pog ones. So what was a good so do you want another hint?
Yes.
Okay,
think we need to
what do you want
move it.
types?
Okay. Yeah.
So I'll tell you the types. So the support V is grass.
Mhm.
The 2 attacking
Grass.
Vs, the one is lightning and the one is water. And the VMAX is also water.
And the VMAX is an attacker as well.
Yeah, the VMAX is the I guess the main
A
attacker.
water attacker. This is a VMAX, so it's not like Palkia.
Yeah, it's not.
obviously.
not
And this was Pog. It was earlier, so and
Yeah.
it wasn't my boy Ice Rider.
It was Ice Rider.
Was Ice Rider?
Ice Rider won with
Did it the second Pog?
It won the second Pog.
Wow. And was there a separate V? Did they play like Suicune V or no?
Yeah, it was Suicune. It was the other
Okay,
water
so,
V.
So those are the 2 waters. We have
Yeah.
a lightning attacker. Oh, what was that Vikavolt V?
Yeah,
Is that
Vikavolt.
something? Okay.
Yeah, that was Pikarom was the deck, and then another.
Another fun card to play against.
Yep. Which is Itemok for those of you who don't know. It was
Yeah.
good for a short period, but it was like absurdly good. And then the Grass V. support.
Which was a support Pokemon, a grass. Eldegoss.
Yeah, it
Right.
was Eldegoss.
Okay.
So, but I figured
Which
you wanna. So
which got the supporter from the discard pile.
yeah, it's essentially versus Seeker as an on playability, which was decent,
Yep.
I guess. I mean, it won essentially a world championship.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us if you enjoy that, like a little trivia. Um, and I figured you probably didn't remember that Ice Rider won, which is like
No, I
surprising.
didn't
Or
remember
it
that at
was
all.
advertised as Suicune, but I don't remember what it was advertised as.
Okay.
I
And
didn't.
what the mix was, right?
Yeah, I think it was
How
more
much of what?
Suicune. But anyway, yeah, that was like a thing, which is like crazy.
Yep.
So, but then we have one last thing to talk about, and that is some new card reveals. And you have not looked at these yet, right?
I have not now. So you told me there's two different pages on PokeBeach. So which one do you want to take a look at first?
Let's do the TM one.
Okay.
So I'll read them out. Or do you want to read them out?
Which cards am I looking at?
The
Because I don't want to
TM,
read all of them.
Phrases Shot, and then the students
Okay.
in Paldea.
Okay. So technical machine. So a new tool card. Crisis Shot. The Pokemon this card is attached to can use the attack on this card. You still need the necessary energy to use this attack. If the card is attached to one of your Pokemon, discard it at the end of your turn. So even if you don't use the attack, you discard it. Is that correct? Because
Yeah, and
I haven't used the TMs yet.
yeah, that's how they work.
So okay, so three colorless does 280 damage. You can use this attack only if your opponent has exactly one prize card remaining. Wow, that's it. That's interesting. Obviously 280 is kind of the magic number a lot of times, although there's more evolving. The stage 2 EXs, you're not one-shotting, so the math is kind of changing in some for some,
Yeah, I
but
think 280 is still like good.
it is very good. Because look, the Radiant Charizard's still good, doing 250. So this does 280.
Yeah, and then one
Uh,
other thing. It attracts for free with Cramorant. Cramorant can copy this for free. Or
okay.
Castform
Yep.
as well. Castform can. I wouldn't really recommend that. I don't know when this is coming out, so Castform may have rotated by then. But yeah,
Oh
it attacks for
no.
free with Cramorant, which is really nice.
Right.
It's kind of like Radiant Charizard. Like it's almost exactly like Radiant Charizard, which is kind of funny.
Right. Except more damage.
Yeah, more damage. You can't
Um,
attack with it before the last turn of the game or whatever.
right.
Um,
And you better win the game
yeah, you better win.
because, especially if you're attacking with your Cramorant, because they're going to blow that one up. Most 90% of the time.
Yeah. Uh,
Um,
I feel like it's a cool card, and I think it's a decent card. I think it's a very decent card.
yeah, Lost Zone. I wonder how many decks will play it. It's 3 energy, so obviously a lot of decks can do that, but not all.
Yeah, what I'm
Because
thinking
you need to
is,
set it up in one turn,
yeah, what I'm
probably.
thinking is like you can play like say guard. Well, I guess guard doesn't like need it. Maybe a deck like obviously Lost Zone could and probably doesn't mind it. Um,
Right.
maybe Chimpow. So like Chimpow. I don't know, I'm trying to think like some Arven deck as well because you could go Arven for this
Hmm.
plus Counter Catcher. Well, you might not have Counter Catcher enabled, but you might. So you could do
Right.
that and then like win the game using that, but you need the energy still. Um, so
Yeah,
I
you
think
need to
it's
get
a
the
good card though.
No, it is good, and it can go on anything. Rule box too.
Yeah.
Correct. So,
Yeah.
so if you have a tanky Pokemon that has 3 energies for its attack cost that you think is not getting knocked out one shot, then that might be a more common way to do it, right? You put it on. Well, you're not going to put it on your Charizard EX because that's doing more damage anyway. But at that point, but something like that, a tanky stage 2 might be good too.
Yeah. And then Students in Paldea. I guess I'll read this one.
Okay.
So search your deck for this is okay. What does this do? I don't remember. Search deck for Pokemon that doesn't have a rule box. Reveal it and put it into your hand. For each
Okay.
other Students in Paldea, and you discard, which is the name of this card. You search your
Yep.
deck for another Pokemon that doesn't have a rule box and put it into your hands. Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it says put it into your hand, but I'm pretty sure that's what it does. Um,
Yeah, it just says search for it. It's like, oh, there it is, and
As
then
you
put your
search for
deck
it, then you
back.
shuffle your deck. No, so so yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if it's good.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that good, but I think it's
Yeah, I don't
interesting.
think so. I mean, since we have like Earth and Vessel, we're starting to get a few more ways to discard. You want to get a bunch of them in the discard. You, you want to use it to get a bunch of cards, right?
Yeah, I think
Like
searching for 3 is all
at least
right.
3,
Um,
because we can't really. What are the supporters that search for 3 now? Are
well,
there
there's like Gloria and like
there
Clavel
ones that
and
search for like basics
basics or
or evolutions?
evolutions and non-rule box basics and non-rule box evolutions.
But
Um,
you can't get a mix of basics and evolutions. This is only
no,
non-rule block,
yeah,
so
there's
it
Jack or Jack or whatever, which lets you search for 2
mhm,
evolutions. It can be rule box or non-rule box.
right.
Um,
Those are kind of the cards that it's competing with for deck space, and those cards don't see a lot of
yeah,
use
those don't like
either.
see any play. I think like I don't think this is good. If they have Battle Compressor, this would be good, but like we don't. If we had like Battle Compressor versus Seeker, this would be really good. Or it might, I don't, it would be like pretty decent, but like, those are,
Right. So
yeah,
you build your deck with Squawkabilly EX and for the Pokegear 3.0, then you grab 3 to hand and then squawk it away, and then you put 4 basics into play turn 1.
yeah,
But
yeah, you
that
do that,
that's not really happening. But honestly,
and
unless
that's
you
not
can
like
come
that good.
close to
Like that's just
something
2
like
Battle
that,
VIP pass. Like that's not that good.
yeah, that's my point. But that's like an optimal use
Well,
of
I
it. I'm
think the
still not.
optimal use would be using it for a mixture, as you said, of evolutions and basics. So a deck like say Gardevoir. You like
Well,
curly away some, and then you can search for like a
yeah.
Ralt and like a Curlia and a Gardevoir, and you get good value out of it, but I don't think it's great.
Because
Um,
you're having to run 4 copies, otherwise it's not worth it, probably, right?
yeah,
Maybe 3, but so there's a deck space issue. Is my point there too, right? Most decks, like the Gardevoir deck, could use it, but does it have like 4 deck slots it doesn't want to use? Not really.
yeah,
And most of these are just like discard fodder, like Battle VIP pass after turn 1. You're curling most of them away, so you can't play most of them because you're not going to, searching for 1 or 2 Pokemon with supporters bad. So I'm not sold that it's going to have a lot of value.
yeah. That's kind of my thought as well. And then we got this other thing. We got this article called "New Shiny Pokemon," and we got some
Mhm.
crazy cards. Not this Charmeleon, but this Kilowattrel. Read this
Okay.
one, which evolves from Wattrel. I'll tell you.
Y-
Um,
Yep.
let's see. Will you get tricked by this card? I don't think you will, but it's
All right.
something.
I will see. All right. So it's a lightning, 120 HP, stage 1. Let's see, 2 attacks, 1 colorless. It does 10 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon for each Pokemon in your discard pile that has the United Wings attack. Um, Now is it really called United Thunder, the
Yeah,
attack?
it's not called.
So
It's
it's
not United Wings.
not United Wings.
No, because then it would
So
just like obviously up the damage for United
it'd get
Wings.
too good. And
Yeah,
then
arguably
and
too good.
the other attack, I assume, which is not the interesting part, Speed Wing does 90 for 3 energy, right?
Yeah,
It's the United Thunder. So
and it
right
evolves
now,
from one of the guys. The Wattrel is a United Wings attacker,
okay, but the problem,
which
so
might
do
be
you
a
want to,
bad thing. It's probably a good thing, but
or does it a Zoroark? So let me think. I haven't played United Wings in a while. There's not a lightning one, correct?
well,
Oh no, the
the
water.
basic
The
is
basic
like
and what does it attack for? A single energy, or is
it's
it
2
a
colorless.
2? So it takes a DTE. This doesn't take a DTE, so you're getting 20 more because of that, which
Yeah,
is a
well, this has
plus.
to be to the bench, so it's like you can't attack the active.
Yeah, that's always sometimes is dicey, right? But
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal, but it's a little annoying.
it's interesting. I mean, I'm wondering if there can be a Zoroark build so you can maximize and get
Maybe
all
you're
unite.
doing not that much. It's only 10 per. Like it's not awful.
The others are 20 per, right? Or
Yeah.
20 to the active, so it's 10.
Um,
So it's a second. So it's a little bite bench snipe, and you have how many United Wings are there? 12 in a deck.
yeah. So you could maybe hit the snipe like 100. It's not great.
So you're taking out like a Curlia or something like that.
Mhm.
You're taking out a Comfy against Lost Zone.
Yeah, which isn't like
Um,
awful, but like
right. It's not
it's
great.
a
I
bunch
mean,
of
I
work
haven't
for
played.
like a mediocre result.
Yeah, it needs. Yeah, it needs something else to buff it, and I'm not sure what that would be. If there's anything via that could fit into it. I guess it would be too good. Well, no, but there were 4 of the
Mad Party, yeah.
Met Party, so it seemed like 4 for this could be okay, especially
Yeah,
if it
this hits
evolved from
better
itself.
weaknesses, and they're all basics, and they're like, um,
So you
And
think it?
they like I don't know. I think honestly I think the United Wings are better than Mad Party. Um,
I wonder if they'll
but it's
print some more.
close.
If you get some more typing of these evolution ones, that could expand the deck too, right?
Yeah, maybe they'll do that like Catterday or some freely thing where like after these like rotate, they'll like print another United Wings card.
Maybe they will. So, anyways, it's I haven't thought about United Wings in a while, so it's nice to remember it. Look, it's honestly, it wasn't a bad deck. It probably still is okay. Um,
Yeah, probably.
but honestly, I'm not going to go pick up the deck. And with this card, when this card comes out, I don't think it really makes the deck that much better. So that's my guess.
Yeah. Now, can you read the next card? I think because okay, I'll tell you a quick thing about these cards here. They're all
Yeah.
like potentially good, but they have like some like flaw that makes them like bad. Well, that's not exactly true, but it kind of is true. And so I want you to read the next one here.
All right. So Mime Junior, right?
Yeah,
So
which is
is
a
this a baby? Is this a baby?
yeah, this is a baby. So 30
Okay.
HP free retreat, free attack.
Right. Yeah. That's why. Well, Junior the name, but it's 30 HP free retreat. So yeah, in one colorless the attack. So make
No, it's
believe
free.
cop. Oh, it's free. I'm sorry. You're
Yeah, that's
correct.
how they work.
Sorry. Yes. So make believe copycats the attack name. Your opponent chooses one of their Pokemon's attacks. You use that as this attack. That's that's very funny.
Yeah,
That's
so obviously potentially it could be super good.
I mean, obviously, if your opponent doesn't have anything that, if all the attacks are good, right?
Hmm.
Um, but there's a lot. Most decks are most plays. They're going to be able to put something that's gonna
Like
cause you not
be
to
be
do much.
trash, like a comfy or like a um
R-
something like that. Some like a random
Yeah.
basic. You're like, oh, you can do like 10, 20, 30. But certainly there
Right.
are times when this could be all right. I mean, there are times when it could be like insane.
Oh yeah. Like most, because it right. Like if you're up against Chen Pao, right?
No,
Excalibur does one. Well,
Pao is bad because unless you're
oh, you
also
don't have
playing
any energy.
Pao,
That's right.
yeah,
Chen Pao wouldn't be good. The other ones like Radiant Greninja is good, or the Chen Pao's okay. But
Excalibur,
right, the Excalibur,
which
but the
is
Chen Pao
decent.
is terrible to copy.
Yeah, most like
Things like Sableye, you couldn't use that attack, right?
yeah, you wouldn't do
Because you
any
don't have any
damage.
loss on. They would say Sableye, and you can't use it.
Yeah, and they choose their attacks specifically. Sableye has two attacks as well. The other one's
Okay,
only
right,
done does like 20 anyway. It's not that good. I've actually
yeah.
used it, but
So that's funny. It'll be interesting to look. Obviously, for content creation, it's a funny one. Is it going to be viable at all? I don't know.
yeah. Overall, I've been disappointed with the baby Pokemon.
Yeah,
I think Cleffa's all right, and the rest have all
yeah.
been pretty bad. I think there's an Elekid, which is all right. I think it's like is it 30 snipe for free? It might be, which isn't too
Okay.
bad.
No.
Um, there have been like a number there, and they're kind of weird, like because they're running out of like simple ideas, so they're just getting like weirder. That's fine, I guess. I thought that one was like a really funny one.
That's a funny one. Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe
and if
there
you,
needs to be like a baby format. Now you can play as baby Pokemon at some
yeah,
point when they have them all.
yeah,
I don't
you
know.
have the Mime Junior copying Mime Junior. Oh, by the way, I don't know if this is the right ruling, but you know how like Mii Mash, like Reggie, or no, oh, yeah, Mii Mash, like Reggie Draco can like copy themselves or like copy
Copy ones of.
like that Pokemon. So you can do that, but then you like choose another attack, and then eventually you'll like run out and like not work.
Well, but
So
like if your opponent had Mew, and if they said the Mew copies. Does it say any of it's benched, or
any
what
of
does it
your
say?
it would be your bench then. So if you had a Genos
But
XP on your bench,
is it a bench but it's only bench fusion
yeah,
strike,
it's bench
right?
fusion strike Pokemon. So you need
So they would say that, and assuming I assume the Mew player is not playing this, so you can't copy any attacks then. Once again,
yeah, yeah. No, there are a lot
you,
of things that aren't good with this.
you have a lot of absurd situations, which is kind of the fun of the deck, right? Of how the many ways this attack would fail.
Yeah. And then Great Tusk. I think you should also. I'll read Great Tusk EX here. So
Okay,
first of all, Great Tusk EX, Great Tusk and Iron Treads are Pokemon. They both have cards, right? They both have EXs.
right, but not not ancient and future.
Yeah,
So
but now they're
now,
getting them.
yep.
And so Great Tusk has its attack, that says so it is a future, so it's good, I guess.
It's 250 HP, and that's
Yeah,
quite nice.
it's pretty nice. Its attack's
Well, there's not many.
260. Yeah, no, it's not. It's good. 260 for lightning, colorless, which is a lot. And the damage
Yeah.
isn't affected by any effects or points active, so that's decent. It's not good. I'd say that attack's not great, right? If that was the
Well,
whole
the
card,
energy cost is bad.
yeah. So if that
Yes,
was the whole card, that wouldn't be that good, right?
correct.
But it does have an ability saying if it's in the active spot at the end of your turn, you mill 5 cards from your own deck, which is bad. That's like really bad.
Um, wow. So you kind of right because it. Okay, it's in the active. Okay. Yeah,
So
there's not a way to switch it out. Like if the attack had the ability to switch to the bench, then maybe you could. Like
yeah,
if you had the option
you
to
can
switch it to the
path.
bench, that's true. You want to path
But I feel like
yourself.
this attack
But
isn't that good. Like, so it's just like not a good card,
all right, so it's
in my
ancient. What
opinion.
the ancient tool does? What does
It
it
gives more
boost the HP?
HP, yeah, and some
How many?
special.
Is it 50?
60. So it's pretty
6.
big.
So it's 310. That's on a basic. So that's super tanky.
Yeah.
And then what's the second part? It does.
It is special condition stopping.
Okay, but that doesn't stop that ability from happening,
No.
which would be good too. Yeah, that's it's so you really need it big late game, but you need to get 4 energy, which I'm not sure you're pulling that one off.
Yeah, and make sure you don't like lose because of this. Because if it's like late game, you can definitely lose. 5 cards is a lot of cards to mill from yourself.
Right, but don't forget if you take the 6 prize, it doesn't matter if you deck out. You don't have to draw till your opponent would finish their turn. So decking out wouldn't lose you the game.
Yeah. Um,
But
okay.
yeah, that's another card that they put a major flaw in it to make it probably unplayable.
Yeah. But then we get to Iron Treads, and Iron Treads I believe is the best of them,
Okay.
at least like these 4 or 5.
hmm
Clad Rolling 150 for Metal Colorless. It does 220 HP. It's a future Pokemon, so you can
Yeah.
boost it to 170, which is a little better, but not like. I mean, it KOs Lumineon. And Metal Colorless it's payable. It's not super easy, but it is payable.
hmm
And
And
you
metal type is better in the game now than it's been, right?
well, you don't have Saucer.
No,
Um,
but in terms of weakness, right? Metal
I
weakness
guess
is
it's yeah for
meaningful.
Chimpao. But then you can discard a future booster energy capsule. I
Yeah.
don't know if you discard if you do the extra damage. I think you do, but I could be wrong.
Okay, that's a
I'm not actually
sequencing
sure.
ruling question.
Yeah, I don't remember. But then if you do, during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 150 less damage from attacks. Uh,
Wow.
if they can like guess around or like switch it out and switch it back in and not do that. But this is kind of like Gudra, but it's like much tankier.
Right. I mean, it's less damage that it's
Yeah,
doing.
it's less
That does
damage and it has less
200.
HP as well.
Although it
But
might do 170, right?
it might, which is still
With it,
less.
still less, but the damage reduction is a lot less. It was a lot more because that does 80 less. This does 150, so 70 more or less. Um. So, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, 3 energies is not ideal. Um. It's interesting though. I mean, the future type is still a little underdeveloped, I'd say, right?
Um, I don't. Yeah. Well, I feel like they don't really have cards to connect them. Like they have the booster energy capsules.
Right.
Um, and then Future has that search card, and Ancient
hmm
has um that the support that accelerates, but they're just like all right. Like they're good, I guess, but the search card's not that good.
hmm
Yeah, I feel like they need some special energy. Which I was thinking about why they don't have, and that could be because
Yeah.
of Lugia as well. So, so they don't want to become broken with Lugia, which I wonder if
Well, they
that's
could
why.
make it. They could make it so. I mean, if it just attaches the ancient future Pokemon, though, it might be okay even with
It
Lugia,
might be, yeah, it
right?
certainly could be.
Um,
Yeah, we'll see.
because that's part of what made the single and rapid strike good, right? Which is kind of what it gets compared to. Is it had the full set from Pokemon to trainers and energy. The energies were very important for both of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I hope the ancient in the future get a little more developed, right? I think it would be good for the game. So they're still printing cards for it, and I think there's a couple more Pokemon that need ancient and future types, I believe.
Yeah, there's some DLC. There are also Koraidon and
Yes.
Miraidon, which are I get they are featuring like ancient Pokemon, but
hmm
like they're kind of different, like very different. Like the Iron Treads and Great Tusk are a little different, but not that different. But
Yeah.
Miraidon and Koraidon are obviously very different from them. Um,
Right. Although I was listening to Wasi's thing, and the Blacephalon, that was an Ultra Beast, right? So the Ultra
yeah, there's
Beast,
Ultra Beast.
he said there were Ultra Beasts in the video game that never got Ultra Beast cards. So there's a precedent
Like
set that
there
every
were.
yeah, that's what he said.
Let
He
me
said
check.
that
Oh,
it's
I think
debatable.
Necros.
There was like one, and he said some people debate it, but he said it's not, but it's complicated. I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah, I think yeah. So we might not see
So it's
Rhydon
possible that one or
cards.
two, but as long as there's more than two that don't have it still, which there might be, I would think. I mean, I hope we get more, right?
Yeah, we will.
As well as trainers and stuff too, and ideally energy, because I'd like to see them develop more.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit underwhelming. I mean, I don't think it's. I think as a mechanic, it's underwhelming. I think the cards themselves. I
Hmm.
think Iron Valiant's cool. I think
Yeah,
Iron Hands is kind of cool. Roaring Moon's cool. Honestly, I think they're all pretty cool. And not all of them are like that
yeah.
good, but even
I,
the bad ones are like okay.
they're viable. Actually, what I'll say is, I think Paradox Rift is a great set at this. To me, right now, it's about as good a set as there was, in that there's these cards like I sing the praise of Earthen Vessel that just fit into a lot of decks, counter catcher, things like that that you can put in. Even something like the Screen Tail that can fit into a deck. I like things like that.
Screamtail.
Scream Tail, sorry, yes, sorry, thanks. As well as some of the new ones like Roaring Moon. That's the new thing too. I think it's good all around. There's some new things that makes old things better. I like it.
Yeah, and I think the new decks aren't as I mean, Roaring Moon's like played so much, but I don't think it's like as good as I don't think it's as like game changing and defining as like Gardevoir, Chien-Pao, or uh Charizard. I feel like
Right.
those like drastically. I mean, Roaring Moon changed things a bunch as well, but it's like
Hmm.
fast and it's cool. And I think Goldingo's fine. I don't think Goldingo's as cool as like Roaring Moon. I think I like it, but I don't think the gameplay style is game changing. And then
Right.
let's see. And then I feel like the other decks are like pretty much every other deck got like some addition, which was fun.
Right. Right. And I think in the competitive scene, and even what you can play and win on the online, there's a lot of decks to choose from still, which is good for the game. So to me, it's better that like Roaring Moon doesn't like wipe out every other deck, right? Like when Arceus came out, it kind of, you either played Arceus or something to counter Arceus, kind of, right?
Yeah, and same thing with
It was
Mew.
overpowered,
There was like that for I think it was like I mean it was
right?
like that for a
There's
lot of Sword and Shield.
right Arceus, you
Pretty
got
much the
Palkia,
whole.
you had it was yeah
You had
one thing,
Lugia, you had Lost Zone, you had Mew, you had Shadow Rider, you had Urshifu, you had Eternatus,
yeah.
you had Zacian, you had Dragapult, you had
Hmm. Right,
I'm
Vivid
missing
Voltage didn't do
yeah
it, so which is
yeah
why everybody hated Vivid Voltage because it didn't reset the game, I think.
yeah. I
But
mean Voltage was really bad.
yeah,
I still don't love Billy Voltage. And then Evolving Skies. I thought Evolving Skies was all right. Evolving Skies was a more diverse meta. Although it was like all
yes,
VMAXs. That was the notorious
Ye-
VMAX Inteleon meta, where like everything was. That was the Owner Ice Rider one, you know. So
it had to be right. It had to be a VMAX. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So look, I think as far as like a release went, it was good, and this was the same right released same time in Japan as here. And here, I think, although I think they could
essentially,
play
yeah.
it, but they could play it in Japan immediately. I think, right? I think in actual official events where they're still not being played internationally yet. I don't know if it's
In
this
official in
weekend or
person
next.
events.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But I think they did in Japan, so those rules seem to be a little different too. I don't know all the ins and
Yeah, I
outs.
don't know. I think some of those might have just been local events as well.
Maybe.
Um,
Which are huge though, right?
yeah,
So
those are like bigger.
than
Um,
our local events
I think.
because yeah, just
Well, I
the
don't
way
think
the
they're
things work
huge. I
here.
think some of them are big. Like, what do you mean by huge? I don't think they're like really over 100. Like
Aren't they? I thought they were hundreds of people, some of them. No.
some of them,
Maybe
but I
not.
don't think those are like. I think those are like. I don't think like casual like card shops are just like running 100-person events like every weekend.
No, but I
Maybe,
think
but
these were official events
oh
because
yeah,
even
official events are like big. Like they're always bigger.
no, but I think they were. I thought they were official events where they could use the new cards. Maybe I'm wrong
I'm
about
not
that.
sure. I'm not really sure.
I don't fully track,
Um,
but it was interesting. They were in sync. I don't know what happens with live because the next set is going to be a special expansion, I think, in whatever January. So I don't know. I don't know what live will do with for the rewards ladder. We'll see with that.
yeah, probably. I'm not sure.
Last
Yeah.
year they did the grand beta celebration. We all wanted to celebrate the beta.
Yeah, or like getting out of beta. Is that what it
No,
was?
there.
Oh, that was we were in beta.
No, that was the beta going global.
Ah,
Is what they celebrated. We all were pumped about
which
that.
like didn't really. I don't know. Obviously, that's
did,
when I like started playing, and that's when you started playing right when it went global, right? Oh wait, no, did it
yes.
come to America before it went global?
No, America was part of the global.
Okay, yeah.
We
So you
were amongst the
started,
last regions. So at the same time, it was actually
and we're in
what was it?
America for those.
Crown Zenith was before the. No, what was Crown Zenith was a regular expansion. What was
Crown
the special?
Zenith was the special
Was
expansion.
that the special? What was the one before that one?
That was Silver Tempest.
Yeah. So I think I started. Did I start with Silver Tempest? Whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think so. That was the Lugia, where like Lugia was like super. No, I think I started with Silver Tempest. I don't remember.
Okay, yeah. It went international with Lugia. So most of like the
which
people
like really
live were
sucked.
brand
Like
new
that was
people
like
without, and you didn't
horror.
migrate, so everybody played Lugia.
Yeah,
And
that was like
it.
a horrible. Like that meta was not good. It wasn't. Well, you had like Lost Zone with Scoop of like you could literally turn one, KO like all your opponent's Pokemon, and that still wasn't even the best deck. It was kind of silly.
Yeah, for overpowered decks, that Lugia deck for that period of time was just insane. So that was not good card design. In my opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was what it was. Paradox Rift, that I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, I give it 1.5 thumbs up.
Okay. Sorry that you had an accident there that you lost half your thumb.
Yeah. No, I think it's pretty good. I think it's not perfect, but I think it's good.
No.
I think the evolution decks aren't as cool. That's what really disappoints me is that based on the way that the Pokemon from the video game are designed, they can't ever have any evolution paradox Pokemon, which is a bit underwhelming. But it is what it is. It's certainly kind of out of their control.
Right. Yeah. That is disappointing. It would be nice to see, but they got that anyway. Anyway, we've rambled on more than enough, I think, here.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for listening to this episode of Reasonably Effective Podcast. Comment your thoughts of things that you've liked or things that you'd like us not to do in the future too.
Yeah.
Is fine.
Sorry. I have one thing, which is important. So comment down below. I probably just said this earlier, but we are going to we've done like the Hall of Fame thing, and we want to do some more of that. But we can obviously go back more for this previous one, which should be the essentially B block, which is Ultra Prism, Forbidden Light. So what is it? Celestial Storm and and what's the last and Lost Thunder. Those 4 sets plus like the mini set, which I guess was Dragon Majesty. So we're doing that. We don't have as much experience with that, and the meta's kind of weird, because that was immediately followed by the tags, which kind of pushed the old stuff out. So we'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on what cards that belong there. We're gonna look into it, and we're gonna do that in at some point in a few weeks. I probably. We're not sure, maybe next week. But so comment down below your thoughts on that. And might do some polls and stuff. And then, also tell us if you want us to talk about theme, because I think we're going to talk about theme some, because we both like themed.
Right. And it's time progresses farther distance from theme. So the longer we wait, the less we all remember it.
Yeah. But. Yeah, anyway, we hope you enjoyed. As always, subscribe to our channels if you want to hear more of our stuff. Shorter videos as well, which might be good, and just occasionally some longer ones. But we hope you enjoyed. If you did, also like the videos. You can check us out on different podcasting platforms. You can also check us out on YouTube. That's the best way to get in contact with us, to comments or join. But you don't have a Discord server, do you?
I do not. So
okay,
not
so you can.
No, I don't. But you have one. So
yeah, I do, and I believe you are in it.
Yes, I am a member of your Discord server.
Yeah, so if you want to contact, you can just do comments as well, but comments don't always work quite right. They're a bit weird. So we hope you enjoyed, and as always, we're excited to see you next time. And tell me, YouTube's being all weird. So tell me if you can see the Discord server. It might have been taken out. But yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, they changed the way stuff displays. I noticed.
Yeah, they took out the About tab and the Community tab or the Channels tab. I don't know. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed, and we're excited to see you next time.
Take care.